Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen. The ridiculous reason the original version of Alien 3 was shot down by Fox. But not only that, it also goes and details what that version would have been. This is an exclusive to Slash Film, so we are going to be taking a look at this today. Fascinating stuff for anyone who likes Alien or just general sci-fi. And also just the overall movie industry as a whole. Because of course what 20th Century Fox does, they were a powerhouse back in the day. So it's interesting to see the choices that they were making as well. So it's an interesting video all round. Hit subscribe if you're new here, and please do turn those bell notifications on. And if you like what I do, then please do consider supporting further via Patreon. Why? Because YouTube demonetizes the channel. So if you like what I'm doing, you can support for as little as $2 a month, which is nothing. I mean, it's literally less than a coffee. So you can find that linked down below in the description box. But anyway, let's take a look, shall we? So I found this and I just thought this was fascinating stuff. I mean, for anyone that's followed the channel for any length of period of time, you'll know I absolutely adore the Alien franchise. I mean, very clearly, you can see it all around me. And it is what actually built this channel up around Alien Covenant back in the day. So, you know, I thought you guys would enjoy this as well. And seeing as we are getting Alien Romulus coming soon, hey, more Alien the better. It's interesting to talk about this stuff. So let's take a look. Alien 3 remains a fascinating entry within one of sci-fi's most enduring franchises. While both Ridley Scott's original Alien and James Cameron's Aliens remain unimpeachable classics, the third entry is a bit more divisive. It was director David Fincher's feature debut, and the end result is a bit messy, in no small part thanks to studio interference. Which is true, actually. The original idea behind that film was incredible. Genuinely incredible stuff. The whole story of that and how it got around is just... I mean, it's mad. It's absolute madness. So, yeah, studio interference. Anyway, the version we got sees Sigourney Weaver's Ripley in a space prison, once again facing off against the Xenomorph, but director Renny Harlin of Deep Blue Sea and Cliffhanger had a radically different idea for the film when he was attached, and sadly that version never came to fruition. So this is Renny Harlin's version of the film. So, let's take a look. Side note, what do you guys think of Alien 3? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? To me, it has a special place in my heart. I actually don't hate it. There are elements I do hate, of course. I mean, Hicks and Newt. What were you doing? But there were things that I, did actually like about that film. So, thoughts down below. I always thought, he says, that I had a good idea. And he said recently in an interview with Slash Film's Jacob Hall in honour of his upcoming film, The Stranger Chapter 1. Which is the first part of a whole new trilogy, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so what was Harlin's idea? It was actually to bring the Xenomorphs to Earth. Unfortunately, Fox executives didn't envision that approach working at the time. Why not? And we'll get into that. It is interesting, cyclical, how it's come back around, because now the Alien TV series, which is in development by Noah Hawley, in fact, they're shooting right now, that is bringing the aliens to Earth. So, I mean, we've come back around. All right, it's come full circle. But anyway, interesting stuff. So he says this. I was working on Alien 3 in '89, which was before Jurassic Park and all those movies. So the concept of having these creatures on Earth for the studio, it felt scary and unattainable. For me, it was the natural evolution. We've had the alien with the truck drivers in space. We've had aliens with the Marines in space. And where do we go next? Let's bring the aliens on Earth and have them going through the cornfield. I don't hate that idea, to be fair. I don't hate that at all. I had the poster already in my mind with the farmhouse and the cornfield and moonlight, and they're going through the cornfield. To this day, I think it would have been a ginormous hit movie because it would have been the first time anything like that was done. But for whatever reason, the studio felt like, the audience won't buy it. What? I mean, I don't know. I think given the aesthetic which was established in Alien and Aliens, it would have been difficult to then see a stereotypical American cornfield with aliens running through. I think that's a fair criticism, and I think it maybe would have been too expensive to then show something different, to try to futurize the traditional American cornfield for an Alien 3. I think that's fair criticism. I think maybe it would have been a budgetary issue, perhaps. I definitely think that I think people would have bought it. I think people would have seen that and gone, yeah, like, that's cool, but I think it's a monetary issue. So anyway, what was the issue? Put simply, Fox executives of the day allegedly didn't feel that audiences would get invested in the idea of aliens on Earth. Yet, just 4 years after Alien 3 hit theatres, Independence Day would go on to become one of the biggest movies of all time, blah, blah, blah. That's true. So what happened? So it says this. So let's put the aliens on a prison ship. A prison ship? How am I going to relate to a prison ship? But that's ancient history. I'm not blaming anybody, but for those who don't know, I worked for a year on Alien 3 and I quit politely, respectfully, because I couldn't stand the idea of, after Ridley Scott and Jim Cameron, coming up with a movie that is just not going to live up to what the audience is expecting and give them that experience. The key to me, just to say again about the Alien movies, was that they have to be relatable. They might be in outer space, but the characters are you and I and in outer space, and that's what makes them tick. I mean, he's not wrong. He actually isn't wrong there. I mean, Finch has had his name removed from Alien 3. Or I think tried to, anyway. Pretty certain he did. I mean, there was so many versions of Alien 3 back in the day. It's a miracle that we even got one, I think. Genuinely. Like, what an absolute shit show of a film production that has been from day one. So, I mean, he's not actually wrong. He's definitely not wrong when he says that they have to be relatable, and actually the reason why Alien works so well is because it is relatable, because that is true. You know, they are truckers in space. They are you and I, their normal working Joe person getting screwed over by a company, and they just want their paycheck, right? These things are very relatable. Aliens is relatable from a sort of interpersonal relationship standpoint, because we have you know, we grew with Ripley in Alien 1, then in Aliens, PTSD, these kind of things, seeking mothership. You know, they are relatable. Alien 3, I mean, I don't necessarily, it's definitely not relatable, maybe to prisoners. But I mean, it's not really relatable to a larger degree. I think people enjoyed it at that point because it was in universe and people like that stuff. But 20th Century Fox have a long history of just screwing things up left, right and centre. Would this have been good back in the day? I don't know if there's a way that they could have done it convincingly from a budget standpoint. I mean, you know, you would have had to have futurized, sort of retro future, the cornfield, right? That's difficult to do. How do you narrow the aliens down to one region? You know, the budget just wouldn't have worked, I don't think. So I can actually see why they shot it down, and maybe the reasons he was given weren't exactly the right reasons or the real reasons. But anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know down below. Genuinely keen to hear your thoughts. Alien 3 is a fascinating story of just the studio being, well, it's just a complete shit show basically, an actual shit show. So cheers guys, take care, bye bye now.